Hello, Midnights. We hope you enjoy our stories. Next, exploring the terrifying myth of the shapeshifter. Let us know where you are listening from, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. From the chilling howl of a werewolf beneath a full moon, to the enigmatic allure of a fox spirit, the figure of the shapeshifter has haunted human imagination for millennia. This potent myth, found in nearly every culture across the globe, speaks to our deepest fears, the fluidity of identity, the hidden wildness within, and the horrifying power to transcend the boundaries of the human form. More than just a monster or a magical being, the shapeshifter is a shadowy mirror reflecting the monstrous side of our own nature and the fear of what lurks just beneath the surface of reality. The concept of shapeshifting is one of the oldest ideas in human history, emerging from our earliest attempts to comprehend a world where the lines between human, animal, and spirit were terrifyingly thin. It wasn't born from a single mind, but rather from a primal fear of the unknown. The very first whispers of shapeshifting are believed to have originated in prehistoric times, long before written language. Archaeological evidence, such as cave paintings in France dating back as far as 13,000 BCE, depict unsettling hybrid human-animal figures. Scholars believe these images represent early forms of shamanism and animism, belief systems where the natural world was alive with spirits, and the shaman was a spiritual leader who could enter a trance state to communicate with them. This shapeshifting was a dangerous spiritual journey where the shaman's soul would take the form of an animal spirit, blurring the boundaries between worlds. For these early cultures, the lines between human, animal, and spirit were not rigid, but a terrifying fluid reality. As societies developed, shapeshifting became a central theme in some of the world's oldest surviving texts. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known works of literature, contains early examples. The forest demon Humbaba, for instance, changes his face and form during a battle, with Gilgamesh demonstrating shapeshifting as a powerful and unpredictable force. In ancient Greek mythology, the gods frequently used shapeshifting to explain their often cruel actions. Zeus, the king of the gods, famously transformed into animals like a predatory swan or a powerful bull to deceive and seduce mortals, while the sea god Proteus was a master shapeshifter who changed his form to avoid being trapped and to keep his secrets. In many of these myths, shapeshifting served a clear, ominous purpose. It was used for seduction, punishment, or escape. Ovid's Metamorphoses is a prime example, a collection of stories where characters are transformed by gods as a cruel consequence of their actions, becoming trees, birds, or animals. This genre of myth acted as a chilling cautionary tale, illustrating the terrifying power of the gods and the fragility of human life. While the concept of shapeshifting has roots in ancient animism and shamanism, its widespread recognition as a sinister folklore trope was cemented during the European Middle Ages and Renaissance. The primary reason for its terrifying hold on the public imagination was its use as a moral and cautionary tale, a brutal tool used to enforce social norms and religious doctrine. The myth was made widely known through dark oral traditions, chilling folklore, and eventually written literature. The prolific Roman poet Ovid, in his epic poem Metamorphoses, became one of the most significant figures in popularizing the concept. His work collected and retold numerous Greek and Roman myths where gods and mortals transformed, cementing shapeshifting as a classic literary device. This book was widely influential in later European literature and art. Beyond its use in folklore and literature, shapeshifting became a powerful and enduring archetype because it speaks to universal human fears. It was recognized as a metaphor for internal change and duality. The shapeshifter provided a framework to understand and categorize those who seemed different or dangerous. Whether a mischievous fox spirit, a feared skinwalker, or a monstrous werewolf, the ability to change form was a defining characteristic of the other, a being that was not fully human and therefore not to be trusted. The transition from a revered spiritual act to a monstrous curse happened as cultures evolved and adopted more centralized belief systems, particularly in Europe. The wild, untamed nature of animals came to be feared rather than respected. The werewolf myth, in particular, became a symbol of humanity's dark side and its pact with evil. Shapeshifting was no longer a sign of spiritual connection, but a punishment for transgression against religious and societal laws. Early Greek and Roman accounts, such as those found in Ovid's Metamorphoses, portray figures like Lycaon, a king transformed into a wolf by Zeus as punishment for his impiety and cannibalism. Here, The transformation is a divine curse, a mark of transgression, and a loss of humanity. This narrative of a shapeshifter as a monstrous figure fully took hold in the European Middle Ages and early modern period. Fueled by religious anxieties and the historical context of the witch trials, the werewolf became a symbol of evil and a product of a pact with the devil. The physical transformation in these tales is often depicted as a painful, violent process where bones break and reform, emphasizing the monstrous nature of the change and the loss of control. Accusations of lycanthropy were incredibly widespread, with historian Richard Kekeffer's research on witchcraft trials revealing hundreds of cases from the 14th to the 17th centuries where individuals were accused of transforming into animals. The legend of the Beast of Gévaudan, which terrorized a region of France in the 1760s, serves as a powerful testament to the public's fear and immediate supernatural explanation for unexplained violence. The people's belief that the creature was a werewolf rather than an ordinary animal highlights how deeply the myth was embedded in the cultural psyche. In fact, forensic analysis of the animal remains believed to be from the beast suggests it was a large wolf-dog hybrid, a conclusion that did little to quell the public's supernatural beliefs at the time. While the werewolf dominates Western folklore, the myth of the shapeshifter takes on countless forms around the world, each reflecting the unique cultural values and fears of its origin. In Asian folklore, the shapeshifter is often a cunning and deceptive creature. The kitsune, a Japanese fox spirit, and the huli jing, a Chinese fox spirit, are cunning beings who can transform into beautiful human women. Their ability to shift forms is a symbol of their immense age and magical power, often depicted as a simple, willing change with a flash of light or a swirl of mist. It is a well-known fact within Japanese folklore that the number of tails a kitsune has, which can be up to 9, indicates its age, wisdom, and power, with a 9-tailed fox being a near-divine entity. These alluring female shapeshifters, who often use their form to deceive men, reflect cultural anxieties about female power and sexuality, portraying women who do not conform to traditional roles as dangerous and unpredictable. Similarly, the tanuki, a Japanese raccoon dog, is a jovial shapeshifter known for its pranks. These myths often explore themes of deception, intellect, and the ambiguous nature of good and evil. In Native American traditions, the skinwalker of Navajo folklore is a powerful and feared sorcerer who can transform into an animal by using forbidden magic. Unlike the spiritual transformations of shamans, the skinwalker's power is gained through a dark, transgressive act, and their shifting abilities are used to cause harm. The existence of these beliefs has led to modern phenomena, with reports of skinwalker sightings and warnings about them being a part of contemporary tribal oral traditions, reinforcing their enduring presence. The Kwakiutl people of the Pacific Northwest, for example, have legends of the bear woman, a figure who shifts between human and bear forms, embodying the deep connection between their people and the animals that share their land. Celtic mythology provides some of the most poignant shapeshifter tales. The Selkies, seals that can shed their skin to become human, are a prime example. Their stories often revolve around love, loss, and the eternal conflict between the human world and the wild, untamable sea. The goddess, the Morrigan, who can transform into a crow or a raven to influence battles, blurs the line between physical presence and supernatural omen, demonstrating the use of shapeshifting as a strategic and divine tool. In Hindu mythology, the god Vishnu is a benevolent shapeshifter, known for his 10 avatars or earthly incarnations. Each of his forms, from a fish to a tortoise, is a deliberate transformation to restore cosmic balance and protect the world from chaos, showcasing a divine purpose for the act of shifting. According to Hindu texts, these avatars appear in different epochs, and the Kalki avatar, a horse-riding warrior, is yet to come, signifying a belief in future transformations to restore righteousness. The Aboriginal peoples of Australia have a rich tradition of dreamtime stories that feature ancestral beings who could transform into both human and animal forms to shape the landscape, blurring the line between creation and a physical presence. In Africa, many cultures have beliefs in beings who can transform. The Anansi of West African folklore is a trickster who often takes the form of a spider to outsmart others, using his shifting abilities for cleverness rather than pure malice. The were-hyena of some African cultures is a powerful and terrifying figure, with folklore dictating that these are animals that can disguise themselves in human form during the day. Norse mythology also features a prominent shapeshifter in the trickster god Loki. He could transform into a variety of animals, including a mare, to escape trouble or play pranks. Loki's shapeshifting not only reflected his mischievous nature but also symbolized the unpredictable forces of chaos that he embodied. In one of the most famous myths, he transforms into a mare to lure away a giant. His horse, ultimately giving birth to Sleipnir, Odin's eight-legged horse. While shapeshifting is a mythical concept, modern fiction often attempts to ground it in a form of pseudoscience. In the world of science fiction, the ability to shift is often explained through genetics or a symbiotic relationship. For example, the changelings from Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, are a species of liquid-like beings whose ability is a fundamental part of their biology, reframing identity from something fixed to something fluid. Similarly, the powers of characters like Mystique from the X-Men are attributed to a genetic mutation, providing a scientific basis for their unique abilities. This contrasts with stories where a human gains powers from a separate entity, like the human host in the movie Venom, who gains shifting abilities from an alien symbiote, a powerful metaphor for the internal conflict of sharing a body and mind. The figure of the shapeshifter also serves as a powerful vehicle for exploring gender roles and fluidity. In some myths, the shapeshifter blurs the line between genders. A prominent example is the ancient Greek myth of Tiresias, a seer who was transformed into a woman for 7 years after he struck 2 copulating snakes. He later became a man again and was revered for his wisdom, having experienced life as both genders. This story highlights the unique insight and power that comes from transcending traditional boundaries. In the 20th and 21st centuries, as humanity's gaze turned from the spiritual world to the cosmos, the shapeshifter myth found a new and compelling home, the alien narrative. This evolution of the myth is a direct reflection of our contemporary fears of the unknown, particularly from a technologically superior non-human entity. The alien shapeshifter takes the ancient concept of the other and places it in a modern context, using the same core themes of hidden identity, infiltration, and the loss of what it means to be human. Early examples, like the beings in the 1956 film Invasion of the Body Snatchers, present shapeshifting as a form of parasitic assimilation. The aliens replicate humans not through physical transformation but by replacing them with perfect, emotionless duplicates. This narrative plays on Cold War-era anxieties about communism and the fear of losing one's individuality to a collective, external force. The inability to distinguish a friend or neighbor from an imposter creates a profound sense of paranoia and isolation. Later, the alien shapeshifter became a more direct and physical threat. In John Carpenter's 1982 film The Thing, the shape-shifting alien is a grotesque organism that can perfectly imitate any living creature it consumes. The horror of the film stems not only from the creature's monstrous form, but from the psychological terror of not knowing who is the thing and who is human. This version of the myth embodies a primal fear of contagion and the disintegration of the self. Contemporary media continues to explore the alien shapeshifter with more nuanced approaches. Characters like the Skrulls in Marvel Comics and the Changelings in Star Trek, Deep Space Nine use their abilities for espionage and political intrigue, often blurring the lines between hero and villain. The Skrulls in particular are a species of green-skinned extraterrestrials who can take on the form of any person, a power they've used to secretly infiltrate Earth's society in major comic book storylines like Secret Invasion. The shapeshifter's ability to imitate others makes them a perfect trope for spy and espionage stories, as seen with the T-1000 in Terminator 2, Judgment Day, an unstoppable liquid metal android. The shapeshifting alien, therefore, has become a powerful tool for exploring not only our fears of the unknown, but also our anxieties about trust, authenticity, and the very nature of truth in a complex world. This narrative also taps into the concept of a doppelganger, where a physical double, in this case an alien, represents a lurking threat to one's identity and life. The enduring power of the shapeshifter myth lies in its psychological depth and its ability to serve as a metaphor for universal human experiences. It externalizes our internal struggles with identity, our desires for control, and our anxieties about the other, both within ourselves and in our society. The myth's enduring popularity is no accident. A 2012 survey by the BBC found that the werewolf was the third most popular supernatural creature, demonstrating its continued cultural relevance. The concept of the shapeshifter provides a framework for understanding and externalizing our internal struggles. Historically, these myths served a vital purpose. They were used to explain the inexplicable, providing a framework for understanding human violence and strange behavior, often attributed to supernatural forces. The phenomenon of clinical lycanthropy, a rare psychiatric syndrome where a person believes they have transformed into an animal, was often interpreted as a genuine shape-shifting curse, blurring the line between myth and a documented psychological disorder. In modern fiction, the shapeshifter's role has evolved significantly. Instead of being an exclusively monstrous figure, they are often protagonists struggling to control their powers and find a balance between their human and animal sides. This reflects a modern trend of finding empathy with the monster and exploring themes of internal conflict and self-acceptance. In the Twilight series, the werewolves are protectors of their community, with their transformations being a rite of passage rather than a curse. Similarly, in the video game The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, the player can choose to become a werewolf or a vampire lord, using their shape-shifting abilities as a tool for heroism or personal gain. This shift from a purely monstrous figure to a sympathetic character reflects a deeper cultural need to reconcile our primal, instinctual selves with our socialized, civilized identities. The shapeshifter has become a powerful symbol of duality, the tension between the civilized self and the inner animal, the conscious mind and the subconscious instincts. The mythical figure of the shapeshifter, whether a feared monster or a celebrated hero, continues to hold a mirror up to our deepest fears and desires, prompting us to ask what it truly means to be human. The shapeshifter myth has taken on new life in the digital age, fueled by viral videos and a resurgence of conspiracy theories. The internet has become a new medium for a new kind of shapeshifter sighting, often rooted in misinformation and pareidolia. A prime example is a viral video from 2023 showing a woman on an American Airlines flight having a public meltdown and claiming that that motherfucker back there is not real. While the woman's outburst was later identified as a stress-related incident, the footage immediately went viral across platforms like TikTok and YouTube. Online commentators and conspiracy theorists seized on her words, claiming she had seen a reptilian shapeshifter or an alien in disguise. The incident had no basis, in fact, yet it became a widely circulated proof for those who believe in such phenomena, demonstrating how quickly and broadly modern shapeshifting myths can spread. This particular conspiracy theory, popularized by figures like David Icke, claims that a secret cabal of reptilian humanoids from another dimension has infiltrated human society and holds positions of power, including the British royal family and various political leaders. This modern myth uses the shapeshifter trope to explain perceived societal ills, from political corruption to social control. In this context, the shapeshifter isn't a magical creature, but a malevolent, non-human infiltrator, a reflection of deep-seated distrust in institutions and authority. Icke's theory, which has been linked to anti-Semitic themes and has millions of followers, posits that these reptilian beings from the Alpha Draconis star system use their ability to change shape to manipulate humanity for their own gain. Modern-day folklore continues to feature shapeshifters in the form of cryptid sightings. The legend of the skinwalker, once a deeply specific myth in Navajo tradition, has become a broad term used in online forums and YouTube videos to describe any mysterious animal-like humanoid. These accounts, often blending genuine folklore with internet speculation, keep the shapeshifter myth alive by presenting it as a contemporary unexplained phenomenon, showing how ancient fears continue to manifest in new ways. Skinwalker Ranch in Utah is a prime example, where reports of everything from UFOs to animal mutilations are linked to the belief in shape-shifting entities, creating a modern-day nexus of paranormal and conspiratorial claims. The evolution of the shapeshifter from a spiritual guide to a feared monster and now to an internet meme or a conspiracy theory subject demonstrates its incredible flexibility. The myth continues to be a powerful tool for humans to express their anxieties about the unknown, the other, and the complex nature of reality itself. Skinwalker Ranch, located in northeastern Utah, is a 512-acre property infamous for a wide range of alleged paranormal and UFO-related phenomena. Its name is derived from the Navajo legend of the Skinwalker, a malevolent witch or shapeshifter. The ranch has a history of reported sightings and events that include everything from unidentified flying objects and strange orbs of light to cattle mutilations and encounters with large, mysterious creatures. The ranch's modern notoriety began in the 1990s when the Sherman family purchased the property. They claim to have experienced numerous frightening incidents, including seeing a massive wolf-like creature that was unharmed after being shot multiple times and strange, surgically precise cattle mutilations. Their story, which garnered media attention, led to the ranch being sold in 1996 to Robert Bigelow, a wealthy businessman and founder of the National Institute for Discovery Science. Under Bigelow's ownership, the ranch became a site for scientific investigation into paranormal activity. NIDS researchers spent years studying the phenomena, documenting hundreds of bizarre events, but ultimately failed to produce conclusive, verifiable evidence. In 2016, the ranch was sold to its current owner, Brandon Fugel, a real estate mogul who has since opened the property to a new team of investigators featured on the television show, The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch. Reports from the ranch describe a laundry list of paranormal events, creating a nexus of unexplained activity. They include UFOs and orbs, frequent sightings of flying objects and glowing multicolored orbs that move with incredible speed and sometimes appear to enter and exit the ground, cryptid encounters, accounts of strange creatures such as the bulletproof, wolf-like being, as well as Bigfoot-like figures and other unknown animals, cattle mutilations, unexplained instances of livestock found dead with organs, removed with surgical precision and no apparent cause of death or blood loss. Poltergeist activity. The Sherman family reported disembodied voices, strange noises, and objects moving on their own. The hitchhiker effect, a phenomenon where paranormal events or misfortune seem to follow people after they leave the ranch. The ranch's location near the Ute Indian Reservation and on land with historical ties to the Navajo people adds a layer of cultural context. According to some accounts, the Ute people believe the land is cursed due to a past conflict with the Navajo, who may have unleashed skinwalkers on the area. The Navajo legend of the Yi Naldlushi, or Skinwalker, describes a malevolent sorcerer with the ability to shapeshift, which ties into the ranch's name and its more sinister reputation. Despite the many claims and the focus of TV shows, skeptics argue that there is no credible scientific evidence to support the paranormal events at Skinwalker Ranch. They suggest that many of the stories were either fabricated or exaggerated for media attention. The family, who owned the property for decades before the Shermans, reportedly experienced no unusual events, leading some to believe the tales were invented by the Shermans to secure a high-paying sale to Bigelow. The ongoing televised investigations also face criticism for a lack of hard data and for presenting anecdotal evidence as fact. In the end, the myth of the shapeshifter endures because it is a chilling whisper of a fundamental human fear. It's the anxiety of what we cannot see and what we cannot control, the terror of a world where nothing is as it seems. These stories, from ancient folklore to modern conspiracy theories, serve as a constant reminder that the most terrifying monsters may not be far-off demons or alien invaders. They may be the face of a stranger, a trusted friend, or even the reflection staring back at us in the mirror, waiting for the wildness within to break free.